Sliding into our penultimate program of the season, what's indubitably the most slippery street in South America. Norte de Santander is a region of northern Colombia. It's right along the nation's border with Venezuela. It's made news in the past because of a violent conflict there involving government troops and guerrilla groups. It's also reportedly the site of valuable natural resources, illegal mines, and drug trafficking. But the town of Bucaramanga, population 6,000, is taking steps to draw attention to its culture, its farming, and people. And one event it planned to do that involves this giant slide down one of its main streets. Social media influencers helped publicize it, and now people from miles away are coming to Bucaramanga. They're enjoying the slide, but the town is enjoying some positive media coverage as well as an economic boost from tourism. Great to have you watching The World from A to Z. I'm Carl Azus, delivering your non-partisan recap of international news and events. Yesterday, 20,000 people had to evacuate part of the German city of Köln, also known as Cologne. The reason was because of something that happened 80 years ago. 3 of the bombs dropped on the city during World War II, buried in the ground without exploding, and authorities had to clear out the area before they could defuse them. Are these weapons still a threat 8 decades after being dropped from the sky? Yes, they've routinely had to be defused or detonated when they've been discovered across Europe. So this isn't a new or highly unusual event, though the city of Cologne says Wednesday's evacuation was the largest since the Second World War. The bombs were discovered by construction crews near the city's center on the banks of the Rhine River. The Deutsche Welle news outlet says the explosives, like the ones seen here, were made in the United States. Hotels, schools, retirement homes, a hospital all had to be evacuated before bomb disposal experts could get to work. And once they did, officials say it took them about an hour to defuse the 1940s ordinance, a clear reason why builders always have to be careful on the continent. Experts say World War II was the most destructive conflict in human history.
Word of knowledge. Which of these American activists became famous for her work to establish Father's Day? Anna Jarvis, Elizabeth Ann Seton, Sonora Smart Dodd, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. One of 6 children raised by a Civil War veteran after his wife died, Sonora Smart Dodd advocated for a day to honor fathers.
Dodd's efforts led to the first Father's Day being celebrated on June 19, 1910 in her home state of Washington. But it would be another 62 years before U.S. President Richard Nixon signed into law the permanent National Father's Day held on the 3rd Sunday in June. It took a lot longer than Mother's Day to become established. A florist cited by History.com suggested, quote, fathers haven't the same sentimental appeal that mothers have. Whether or not that's true, Americans are expected to spend more this Father's Day than ever before.
It's the time of year to celebrate the dads in our lives, and shoppers are going all out.
They want to commemorate Dad. They want him to have a special day.
Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation says Father's Day spending is expected to reach $24 billion this year. Cullen says that's a record. So how much are people budgeting for? According to the NRF's latest survey, shoppers plan to spend just under $200 per person this year. That's about $10 more than last year.
There are certainly a lot of activities that consumers are planning for their dads, whether that's a special meal out, an event like golfing or going on a hike or bike ride, or maybe going to a sporting event together or tickets to a concert later in the year.
Shoppers are also spending money on clothing, gift cards, electronics, and personal care.
We've seen that about 43% of consumers plan to gift a subscription box. These are great gifts that continue to give throughout the year.
Cullen says some retailers are running sales ahead of Father's Day, so shoppers can score some deals right now. I'm Jen Sullivan.
On this date in world history, June 5th, 1968 was when U.S. presidential candidate and Senator Robert F. Kennedy was fatally shot in California. The Democratic politician was a supporter of Israel, and the man who shot him was a Palestinian who reportedly said he did it for his country. The shooting occurred on the first anniversary of when the Six-Day War began. It was a conflict in 1967 between Israel and its Arab neighbors, and Israel's victory expanded its territory in the Middle East and deepened its conflict with Palestinians. On this date in 1883, a train departed Paris, France for Vienna, Austria. Why was that significant? Because it was the Orient Express, the transcontinental luxury train that would eventually run to Constantinople, which became the Turkish city of Istanbul. The Orient Express operated for decades and was famous for its superior accommodations and fascinating destinations.
Scientists have produced the first connectome, or wiring diagram, showing the complete brain of a fruit fly. That's a visual representation that shows the physical connections and layout of an electrical system or circuitry. Think of it as a detailed guide map of the buildings, streets, and side streets in a complicated city. The 3D model of a fruit fly brain contains 140,000 neurons and over 50 million connections, and it's giving scientists a full picture of the neural activity that allows the little insect to perform key functions: movements, processing of sensory information, or memory. You and I may find the tiny flies that often buzz around a bowl of fruit as nothing more than, well, a nuisance. But scientists?
The closer you look, the more surprised we as scientists are. So, for example, we know that they can walk and fly, and those are actually pretty complicated things.
The size of a grain of sand, a fruit fly's teensy tiny brain is still capable of complex skills, like learning and remembering, navigating, even in the dark, and knowing songs for use in mating.
So there's lots of quite sophisticated behaviors, and actually many more that probably we don't yet know about.
The immense amount of data available to scientists through this 3D model is remarkable, and it's open to the public. The research was possible thanks to machine learning AI. Without it, scientists calculated that the mapping would have taken 4,000 human years. But AI isn't perfect, and map reconstructions must be proofread and corrected by hand. What's the next step now? Maybe someday a human brain connectome, but that's still a long ways off, as the human brain is much more complex.
We, right now, in the field, are focusing a lot on some slightly, some brains sort of in between. So the zebrafish is a common vertebrate model system, and the mouse is definitely in people's minds.
The work is allowing researchers to study how brain function is determined by the structure of brain circuits, and could be a valuable resource for neuroscientists.
What day is it?
New beginnings and fresh goals. These are some main characteristics of National Start Over Day, an event on June 5th that encourages people to try again.
A really fun school to say leads off our viewer segment today, Klickitat High School in Klickitat, Washington. Hello to Mr. P's class in the home of the Cougars. We have the Warriors with us from George Whittel High School. Mr. Kelly's class is watching from Zephyr Cove, Nevada. Making a stop in Michigan to recognize Mr. Marusi's class. Niles High School in Niles is where the Vikings roam. And it's in the first state of Delaware that Mrs. P's and Mr. Mayer's classes are watching. Frederick D. Thomas Middle School is in Lewis. Finally, Hopatcong Middle School in Hopatcong, New Jersey. The Chiefs are here from Mrs. DeRosa's class.
Watch an elephant with a serious case of the munchies stroll into a convenience store and start snacking away. The bizarre scene was caught on camera in Thailand at a store located near a national park where elephants are known to roam. The store owner says it had been a slow day when the large mammal came wandering in off the street and dove right into the snacks. Elephants are famously known for their love of peanuts, but owners say this one went straight for the candy before sampling saltier offerings, which did include peanuts. Park rangers eventually showed up and shooed away the munch and mooch, and the owner says a wildlife protection group later offered to foot the big guy's snack bill.
Good thing they weren't selling elephant ears. That smarty might not have skittle-daddled before bursting into tears and getting good and plenty angry, causing mounds of trouble and 100 grand worth of damage while finding a Milky Way to crunch the shelves into Reese's Pieces. Only an airhead would call him a goober for leaving one whopper of a mess behind. A Carl Azus, and it's time for us to Rolo. We have one more show to go before summer break, and it'd mean the world to have you watching the world from A to Z.